All right, welcome back, everyone. Last time, we took a deep dive into the React module itself, right?
Yeah, we did.
We explored all kinds of interesting functions and objects and got a good feel for what's going on under the hood.
A lot going on in there.
But ready to go deeper.
Oh, always. That's
Ah,
why we're here, right?
hmm.
What are we diving into today?
Today, it's all about the React element factory. I know it might sound a little intimidating, like some kind of industrial complex churning out code,
Yeah.
but honestly, it's actually a really elegant concept.
Hmm.
It's the key to understanding how React takes those simple descriptions of what we want to see on the screen and turns them into actual, well, stuff on the screen.
Yeah, it's the bridge between the conceptual and the actual, you could say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to kick things off, let's start with the basics. What exactly is a React element?
Okay, so a React element, you can think of it like a blueprint.
Okay.
It's a plain JavaScript object, nothing too fancy, and it describes what you want to see on the screen. It could be a button, a text input, an image, or even a whole component, like a complex form or a navigation bar, anything really.
So it's like a set of instructions, kind of.
Exactly. It's like saying, hey, React, I want a button here, and it should have this text on it, and when you click it, this function should run.
And these elements are what make up the entire UI of a React application.
You got it. You can think of your whole app as a big tree of these elements, all nested inside each other.
Okay, that makes sense. But I mean, if they're just plain JavaScript objects, are they like really complicated?
No, not at all. Actually, they're surprisingly simple. Like, think about a button element.
Mm-hmm.
It might look something like this. Type, button, props. That's a function, children. Click me.
Wow, that's pretty readable.
Right. It's
Uh,
just saying it's a button, it has an on-click handler, and it has the text click me inside it.
I like it. So these elements, these blueprints, how do they actually become something I can see and interact with on the screen?
Well, that's where the factory part comes in.
Okay, let's talk about the factory.
So deep inside the React source code, and we're talking like the core of the core here,
Right.
there's this function also named React element.
Okay.
And it's the one that takes those simple descriptions, those blueprints, and it turns them into those JavaScript objects we were just looking at.
You know, that's actually really interesting. We use React.createElement in our code, but behind the scenes, it's this React element function that's doing the heavy lifting. Why is that? Why the
Yeah.
distinction?
Think of it this way. It's kind of like ordering takeout.
Okay, I like food analogies.
Yeah, me too. You call the restaurant, you say, hey, I want a pizza with pepperoni. That's you calling React.createElement.
Right.
But then in the kitchen, there's a whole team of cooks following a specific recipe to make that pizza.
Hmm.
They're adding the dough, the sauce, the cheese, the pepperoni, baking it just right. That whole process, that's like React element at work.
So React.createElement is like placing the order, and React element is fulfilling it, making sure it's all done right.
Exactly. It's like a behind-the-scenes operation.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. So walk me through that kitchen process.
Yeah.
What's React element actually doing with these descriptions, these blueprints?
Well, like we said, it takes your description, I want a button with this text and this behavior, and creates that structured JavaScript object that represents it.
Right.
But here's the really clever part. It doesn't just stop there.
It doesn't.
Nope. It adds in a bunch of extra information that's absolutely crucial for React to do its job later on.
Like what? Give me some examples.
So for example, it adds a unique key to each element.
Key.
Yeah. This is super important for React to keep track of which elements are which, especially when you're dealing with lists of things. It's what helps React efficiently update those lists and avoid re-rendering everything unnecessarily.
Oh, interesting. So it's like giving each element a little ID tag so React can find it easily.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about making things run smoothly and keeping your app fast. And React Element adds a few other things too, like ref, which lets you directly access the underlying DOM node if you need to.
Interesting. Okay, so it's doing a lot more than just putting together the basic information.
It's like a master craftsman taking those raw material and shaping them into something that React can actually work with, adding those little details that make all the difference.
Okay, this is all fascinating, really. But I've got to ask, why should I, as a developer, care about this whole element factory concept?
Mm.
I mean, if it's all happening behind the scenes, do I really need to know about it?
That's a great question. And the answer is a resounding yes.
Okay, good.
Understanding these React elements, these building blocks, it's like having a blueprint of how React itself operates. You wouldn't try to build a house without understanding the basics of framing, right?
So it's not just about knowing how to use React. It's about understanding how it works at its core.
You got it. And that deeper understanding is what makes you a better developer. Think about debugging. Let's say you've got a weird bug where things aren't rendering correctly. If you understand how React uses keys to keep track of elements, you can quickly pinpoint whether there's an issue with the keys themselves, saving yourself a ton of time and frustration.
This is like having X-ray vision into your application, seeing how everything fits together.
Exactly. And it can even help you write better code from the start because you'll have a deeper understanding of what React needs from your elements to perform at its best.
I'm starting to see why this is so important. So instead of just throwing components together and hoping for the best, knowing about elements and the element factory empowers me to write more efficient, less buggy code.
Absolutely. It's all about taking that extra step to really grasp those fundamental concepts.
Wow, this has been an eye-opening journey, honestly. We've gone from these simple JavaScript objects to seeing how they're created, how they're structured, and why they're so crucial to React's magic.
It's amazing how something that seems so basic on the surface can have such a profound impact on how everything works, right?
That.
And it makes you think. Knowing that these React elements are just plain old JavaScript objects, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you can understand and manipulate these objects directly, you can do some pretty amazing things with React. You can create custom renderers, optimize performance in really granular ways, even build your own extensions to the framework.
So this knowledge isn't just about understanding React as it is, it's about the potential to take it even further.
Exactly. It's about empowering you to build the tools and solutions you need, not just relying on what's already out there.
That's a really powerful concept. It's making me think about how I approach building React components in a whole new light.
That's what we like to hear.
So to wrap things up, we've covered the basics of React elements, we've explored how the element factory churns them out, and we've seen why this knowledge is so empowering for developers.
We've laid the foundation.
Exactly. And in our next deep dive, we're going to build on that foundation by taking a closer look at the reconciliation process, the heart of React's rendering engine.
We'll see how React takes those elements and uses them to efficiently update the UI, keeping everything smooth and responsive.
It's the next step in our journey to unraveling the magic of React. So make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you next time.
See you then.